Jeroge, many thanks indeed. Tonight on Newsnight, the question of corruption, petty and grand. It has dominated the news this week with the arrest and prosecution of several individuals, a councillor from the City Hall and members of the police force over corruption allegations. Well, to discuss that with me tonight, I have Dr. Abogast Akidiva, the Principal Officer of Education at the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission, and Molly Mumati, the CEO of Mars Group. But before we continue, our big question for tonight: should KACC publicize the details of its asset recovery agreements? We'd like to hear, of course, what you think and sample some of your responses at the end of the program. Let me come first to you, Dr. Akidiva. Now, in 2003, it was reported that up to $1 billion of Kenya's money, Kenya's assets, was abroad. Where are we today in terms of asset recovery?
You find that that agenda had impediments, whereby the court system ruled that the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission could not enter into mutual legal assistance, and we had to go to the Attorney General, who would then undertake on behalf of the Commission. Just this July, the Court of Appeal has overturned that ruling, and the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission now can engage in international investigations. So that is ongoing. Investigations are on, and therefore I cannot divulge what we are doing, but that has been brought back. So we are in the process of recovery at the international level, because the gate has now been opened there just this July.
Walimu.
Yeah, I think that was a very significant case, the Court of Appeal ruling, and so we commend KACC for actually pursuing that appeal. But the interesting thing is that the company, First Mercantile, in which they were pursuing here, we also won another case in Geneva also. So I think Kenya is doing better in terms of the legal framework, so they are entitled to mutual legal assistance, or to seek it. I do believe that the destinations for most of these funds are actually interested in cooperation with Kenya. So it's for us to ensure that they do pursue our assets abroad. But the interesting thing you were saying about the $1 billion, 70 billion shillings, that was actually said by the former Minister of Justice, Honorable Kiraitu Murungi. And that was before they'd even published hired Kroll and Associates, who found that it was in the region of $2 to $3 billion. That kind of money could develop Kenya, so it's worth pursuing. And I think, were I in a position of power, that would be my first priority, because that's what you can use to educate people or to provide services for people. And certainly, it should not be left in the hands of the crooks who put it there.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We are pursuing that vigorously.
In terms of priorities, though, under the new director, what are the priorities of KACC?
We must continue with the things that we've been doing. But what is happening is that now we are enhancing the levels of engagement. In terms of law enforcement, we have even, as I mentioned, taken on the integrity testing program across the entire public service. We are working with state corporations and making sure that we seal loopholes for corruption. We must continue with public education. Indeed, public education is now being escalated, because if you get to changing the values system, if you get to get people to be persons of integrity, that they will stand up and say, no, I will not engage in corruption. I will not engage in something that I do not believe in, because it's wrong. So we are doing a lot of civic education. We are doing a lot in terms of training people, in terms of community empowerment. Currently, we are training what we call community-based anti-corruption monitors and facilitators. These are drawn from civil society groups, and we are engaging with them. That last batch is finishing tomorrow. And up to now, we will have trained 290 such anti-corruption monitors at the grassroots level. And we are enlisting public support because we believe, we are convicted that without proactive intervention by citizens in this country, we cannot win this war. So that everybody must take it upon himself as an individual, that this is my responsibility. I have no other country apart from Kenya.
Mwalimu, when you talked initially about the effectiveness of KSCC, looking back at issues of corruption, maybe going back to 2003 after the NARC government's pledge, what do you think or what do you see as the biggest challenge?